This Church of BL video is brought to you by my friends at the Otaku Market. The Otaku Market has loads of English, localized, and reasonably priced BL in print as well as merch and other sundry otaku goods via their eBay page. They have been a staple convention vendor stop for me for the last few years, and as vending at cons has sorta stopped for the meantime, supporting our vendor friends online will be the best way to keep them up and running and ready for the redemption arc that will hopefully be here by the end of 2021. But with all of that said, on with the video. The sheer amount of times I have to record these intros is insane. I just sit here in my room talking to myself for 20 minutes to warm up because, oh my god, is it way more awkward than I anticipated to sit alone in my room and talk to myself. I can be off the cuff for hours during conventions, but try to get me pre-recorded and it's like pulling teeth. But I digress. I'm back, and it's episode 2 of the Church of BL. Today's topic, BL live-action dramas. It is 2 a.m. I have my cat. I have sweet tea. Let's record a video. But before that, some notes. This COBL episode will not be age restricted, as these dramas are fairly PG-13. However, I will be discussing topics including, but not limited to, abuse, emotional manipulation, homophobia, as well as touching base on the general stigma against LGBT plus people. If that's a trigger, click away. No judgment. You're valid. Have a nice day. I'll see you in episode 3. I'm fairly new to the BL live-action drama game. I had watched a few here and there, but was never a really huge fan of them. They felt very awkward, like overly forced gay baiting. I don't know. They gave me weird feels, so I didn't watch them very often. Only if it was based off a series that I had read and loved would I happen to watch them out of sheer curiosity. Then a monster named the Untamed took my soul. Untamed / CQL / MDZS changed the game for me. Cause, you know, who am I kidding? Am obsessed. I listened to the soundtrack while writing this episode. Side note, please refrain from shaming me about my love for Meng Yao. I will stand this man till the day I die. I could write a whole thesis on my adoration of his character. Let me live my life. So from there, I then got curious as to what all I was missing. I had slept on this shit for so long, I gotta catch up. So not only did I start watching more Chinese dramas in general, because sweet hell, wuxia is my shit. Ugh. I started watching more live-action BL. In this video, I'm going to focus on Chinese, Thai, Japanese, and Korean live-action BL that I have watched in the last few years and have been completely destroyed by. I'll go over the good, the bad, and the uncomfortable. So if that's something you're into, I give you BL dramas that hurt me. First, we'll start with Chinese, as The Untamed was a bit of an icebreaker for me when it came to watching live-action BL, and it sounds like a good starting place. I don't want to focus too much on The Untamed, as it got absurdly popular. You can watch it in its entirety on Netflix. Freaking Netflix. But I digress. I'm sure there's tons of content on it, so I'm going to focus on 2 others that I've watched and chit-chat about them for a bit. I could easily make an entire episode about MDZS, but maybe another day. With that said, if Chinese dramas are something that you dig, I definitely suggest checking out AvenueX's YouTube channel. I'll link them in my description. They're a Chinese creator who has experience in the Chinese drama industry and gives great reviews on Chinese content. I am very much a pale Caucasian slice of white bread, slathered in mayo, who only recently in the last few years awakened a love for Chinese content. I can only do the subject so much justice. She, however, is a gem. Check her out. Anyway. A close friendo of mine, Heza, has been crushing it in the live-action sphere way before I had any interest. So when I voiced that I was starting to get into them, she suggested I watch Guardian and Winter Begonia. Guardian I have finished, rewatched, and read the novel. We will get to that. But Winter Begonia, I am slowly working myself through. I'm only on episode 5, but I really like the chemistry between the 2 main leads, so I can see myself finishing it one day. It's just for whatever reason taking me 1,000 years to really get hooked on it. The music and the cinematography of the show are beautiful, It involves a lot of, I'm going to pronounce this right, Peking opera? Peking opera. If you're not used to that sort of storytelling type singing style, it may be a hang up for you, but I love every bit of it. The setting is beautiful, the cinematography is gorgeous, the characters are well written and interesting. Why have I not finished it? One big thing to note, though, about Chinese BL dramas in general. The BL part is kind of scarce, if they're at all. It's usually just lightly hinted at. While China does tend to adapt a lot of BL web novels into dramas and donghua adaptations, having them be gay is a big no-no. So typically all of the gay is replaced with a super close buddy best friend type storyline. He's not your husband, he's your cultivation partner. But I digress. If you're wanting to experience these couples as their respective authors have originally intended, I definitely suggest reading their novels, if you can find them in your preferred language. I have the Winter Begonia novel bookmarked, but as of this recording, I can't find it fully translated in English yet. But once I get done binging MXTX novels, quick side note, I just finished TGCF. Oh my god, it's so good. I can't wait for that live action drama. I'm hella nervous about it. The novel is over 250 chapters long, and the rumor is that the drama's only gonna be 30 episodes. I'm not sure that's gonna work, but I'm so excited regardless. Anyway, once I get done with my MXTX binge, I'm on Scumbillet now. I'm almost done. I'm super interested in reading Winter Begonia. I can only imagine how perfect these two are together. And speaking of perfect, oh my god, Guardian is some quality shit. For a sundry amount of reasons. I loved that drama. I also have no idea how in the hell they got away with being so absurdly gay, given how ridiculously strict Chinese censorship seems to be. Guardian got away with a lot. However, two big things to note about the Guardian drama. One, it's almost nothing like the novel. The novel is frick-frackin' fantastic, but it's an entirely different story with different themes. The drama keeps majority of the main story, but adapted it to fit Chinese censorship. Because not only are we not allowed to be gay, but we also can't discuss hell, demons, magic, and gods and such in a modern Chinese setting, which are all prevalent in the novel. In the drama, they changed them to, aliens. They made them aliens. But you adjust! Secondly, the drama looks like it was made on a budget of exactly $20 and a paperclip that someone found in their pocket. The CG is hilarious. They only have like 5 sets that they reuse constantly, and there is this transition scene that they reuse multiple times in almost every episode where these birds are flying over a building. They even repurposed that, playing it in reverse, playing it at nighttime, playing it in reverse at nighttime. It's so poorly made, it's hilarious. I've always been a fan of low-budget content. It is my lifeblood. So, with all of that said, I had a great time watching this drama. However, while the lack of a budget didn't really kill it for me, that's not the only reason that Guardian is fantastic. The chemistry between the two main leads is to die for. Zhu Yilong and Bai Yu were meant to act together. They are so easy on the eyes every time they're on screen. They were cast so absurdly well. As someone who loves the novel, they were practically lifted off of these pages. Despite the story being torn apart for the sake of censorship, it's still really good and keeps me interested. I care so much about these beans, which brings me to one bad point. The ending. I won't spoil it, for obvious reasons, but the ending to the live-action drama is a travesty. I'll just leave it at that. Read the novel. Anyway, moving on to the literal polar opposite of Chinese BL dramas. Thai BL dramas. Freaking Thai BL dramas. Sweet Jesus, they are a cornucopia of superb content. We got low budgets, we got hella gay, we got representation galore, we got realistic modern scenarios of the LGBT plus experience, we got completely absurd would never freaking happen scenarios. It's chaos, and I'm in love. Thai BL are like the polar opposite of Chinese live-action BL drama adaptations, in the sense that gay is everywhere and shown, like straight up, blatantly there. They making out and shit on screen. We ain't hiding anything here. They are here, and they are dating, and you're gonna freaking like it. However, I do want to quickly point out, before I get all giddy and excited about all this representation, that while it appears to be super literal in Thailand from the perspective of their BL dramas, locals in Thailand don't always have that luxury, which is super hypocritical and weird, but I live in America. We are the literal textbook definition of hypocritical and weird. But I digress. To quote Wikipedia, super credible, I know, but it gets the job done. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgendered people in Thailand may face legal challenges not experienced by non-LGBT plus residents. Both male and female same-sex sexual activity are legal in Thailand, but same-sex couples and households headed by same-sex couples are not eligible for the same legal protections available to opposite-sex couples. In 2013, the Bangkok Post said that while Thailand is viewed as a tourist haven for same-sex couples, the reality for locals is that the law and often public sentiment is not so liberal. A 2014 report by the United States Agency for International Development and the United Nations Development Program said that LGBT plus people still face discrimination affecting their social rights and job opportunities, and face difficulty gaining acceptance for non-traditional sexuality, even though the Tourism Authority has been promoting Thailand as a gay-friendly country. So, that's frickin' dumb. I'm over here getting frickin' teary-eyed over the sheer amount of acceptance I'm seeing in Thai media, only to learn that it's just a sugarcoating, which is depressing, but I'll take my silver lining when given it. Thai live-action BL is a game changer, and my current favorite is super new, like just finished simulcasting on WeTV New, Manner of Death. The two main leads in Manner of Death have the best chemistry. They were also the leading roles in another BL drama together with me, which I'm trying to bribe myself into watching despite how much the plot will probably annoy me. While my comfort level around questionable plot lines is pretty lenient, I'm okay with reading about or watching mostly anything. It's fiction. I'm here for plot, interesting relationship dynamics, and hot men. But I'm told Together With Me deals with a lot of cheating and sexuality denial, and if I learned anything while watching Tharn Type, boy will we get to Tharn Type. That is apparently a trigger for me. I get pretty heated, so I haven't watched that one yet. I'm sure that day will come, though. But anyway, Manner of Death. Manner of Death is a crime drama with a splash of BL. I say this because, at least in the drama, their relationship is sorta a side plot. I'm unsure if this applies to the novel, as I'm not entirely certain where to find English translated Thai novels. If anyone knows, please enlighten me. I need them in my life. I actually really enjoyed that the relationship between the two main leads just sorta happens. It's so novel to see a gay relationship be held at the same seriousness level as a straight one. Like, it's not some big freaking thing that they're gay. They just are. And it's so refreshing. I could just cry. Like, the idea of an LGBT plus relationship just happening and being accepted without the giant, but they're gay subplot makes me so happy. I really liked how their relationship was written. It's the normalcy I want to see in the real world. But the main reason, aside from the lead's relationship making me absurdly happy that Manner of Death has moved its way slowly up to one of my favorites I've ever seen, is that the main crime drama plot is so good. I'm such a sucker for crime dramas, and this one is nuts. The level of absurdity it has reminds me of soap operas that my grandma used to watch when I was a kid. They are so dramatic, and the plot twists are freaking crazy. I pride myself in being able to usually piece together plot lines pretty well. I'm good with context clues. But the ending to Manner of Death was insane. I didn't figure out half that shit. It was so good. I looked forward to watching the new episodes every Monday, so now that it's over, it's sorta sad. But the exact opposite of the happy feelings that Manner of Death gives me is Tharntype, which makes me want to slam my head through a concrete wall. I will preface this with, I know many people, some of which are friends of mine, who put Tharntype on a pedestal and love the ever-living shit out of it. I am not here to shame you. Live your life. There are loads of characters and ships that I adore that are buttloads of wrong to many people. If I shamed you in any way, it'd be the pot calling the kettle black. However, my heated opinions on Tharntype are based on having gone through many emotionally abusive relationships in my 30 years of life. One of which was a short-lived, though extremely traumatic marriage. This drama gave me incredibly too many feelings, and while I can't say I hated it, I watched the whole thing and plan to watch the sequel eventually. It just hurt me a lot. Warning, mentions of emotional abuse and rape. Please go to this timestamp to skip this bit. The main leads of Tharntype are Tharn, a beautiful out gay man, and Type, an also beautiful though incredibly homophobic asshole. And their relationship dynamic hit home a little too hard for me. Type reminds me of an ex I had who made my life freaking miserable. Type is everything I hate about emotionally manipulative jerks with absolutely zero self-awareness. Tharn has his issues too. He basically rapes Type in the first few episodes. He's not perfect either, but Type is a whole other damn level. While I will give him some credit, he does eventually have some character development and does work on being less of a selfish turd, but it does not excuse all of the shit he constantly was putting Tharn through. There were tons of episodes where I was just like, why are you with him? Why do you let him treat you like this? I don't care how hot he is, that is not okay. To which I then remember why I stayed with my abuser. He wasn't always bad. He occasionally apologized. He was actively, to my knowledge, working on being a better person and making compromises for me. You always think that they will improve, and a lot of the time, they don't. Type gets his redemption arc, but for me, the level of stuff he pulled before that was too much to forgive. It hit a nerve. You don't get to shame your same-sex partner for being gay and get away with it. You don't get to control his relationships and who he talks to, but you get to do whatever you want despite how he feels about it. You don't get to constantly degrade your relationship and then wonder why he's always hurting and ends up not taking your words seriously. Watching Tharn get so excited anytime Type did something nice hurt me so bad. I was that person for so many years. I was with an asshole who treated me like dirt, but every now and then he'd be perfect and I'd fall for it every time. It was just a little too relatable. But I watched Tharntype, despite my triggers, because I don't like leaving shit half done. I don't think I can properly give an opinion on something that I haven't completed. Maybe it gets better, maybe they change, but it didn't for me. Once again, this is due to my own personal trauma. I learned, while watching Tharntype, that there are apparently relationships I cannot stomach. That's my own thing. Feel free to love them. I'm going to try to watch the sequel and see what happens, but oh boy, that show was a roller coaster ride. Moving on to brighter themes, to an extent, Japanese live-action BL. These are where I truly started. In the late 2000s, I watched a few. They were a cringe fest. The chemistry between the actors always seemed so off for me, so I didn't often watch them. 9 times out of 10, I had read the manga the dramas were adapted from, as I'm a heavy BL manga reader, and have been since like 2005, 2006-ish. So the repertoire of titles I've read is immense. But on the flip side, that makes watching Japanese dramas even more the enticing. I want to see these characters on screen. Every now and then I'll get an anime. They've become a little more common in the last few years. Blue Lynx came out with the Given movie and Twittering Birds recently, and both were fantastically made. But when it comes to live action adaptations, I've been sorta out of the loop for a long time. I didn't pay attention to them. Enter pornographer, or the novelist, as Vicky, I guess, thought pornographer was a bit too much for them to slap on their platform. I absolutely loved this manga. You can find it on Futakiya, English localized. I wish there was a print version. I'd buy it in a millisecond. It also has a prequel that I haven't read, but I need to. That also got a live action adaptation. The casting, the script, the camera work, the sets, everything. Absolutely perfect. It was so satisfying to watch. My only gripe was that the guy they got for the seme, the younger guy, he didn't really match up with his look in the manga, but boy was his acting on point. The uke, however, the older novelist guy, perfection. They couldn't have casted him better. Oh my freaking god. His look, his acting, his voice, everything perfect. Shook me almost to tears. So, after witnessing this absolute dream of manga to screen adaptation, I started watching more Japanese BL dramas. Love on the Line was another drama I watched where I had read and loved the manga. However, while I did like the drama, and I think they did a decent job at conveying the characters, the ending made me sad. Spoilers? So go to this timestamp if you want to skip that. The best part of the Love on the Line manga, in my opinion, is the end scene, when it shows the two characters growing old together and depicting how their lives ended, still loving each other and running towards each other and reuniting in the afterlife. It's an emotional, gripping scene in the manga that always struck me and ties all of the events of the manga together. I was so hype to see this in the drama, and they didn't include it. If they had just included that one damn scene, it would have been damn near perfection. This series deals with a lot of real-world stigma that happens to LGBT plus people, as well as interracial couples in Japan, which I always found really relatable and interesting. The situation around LGBT plus people in Japan is different from the US, but there is some overlap. As an American LGBT plus human, I can relate to their struggle in some areas, and it was nice to be represented on screen. Another Japanese drama I really freaking adored was Cherry Magic. I didn't expect to like Cherry Magic, as the premise sounded so stupid, but oh my god, it was great. Basically, it's the whole if you're still a virgin by 30, you become a wizard trope. But in this case, if you're still a virgin by 30, you can hear people's inner dialogue when you touch them. Come to find out, this quiet, little, cute bean boy is being crushed on hard by this super successful, attractive senpai at his company. Their relationship is so wholesome. I love them to pieces. On the flip side, there's a side couple who is also super cute and makes me really happy. It's just a big ol' happy fun time with a satisfying ending and totally worth the watch. As of recording, the entire thing is on Verve. I hadn't actually read the manga for this one. You can find it in print for a decent price on Right Stuff, but the whole series isn't out in English yet. They're working on it. The first 2 are out, 3 is pre-orderable as of this recording, and there are 5 in total. You can also buy them via ebook. I think I got mine for Barnes & Noble through the Nook app. The manga is slightly different to the live action, but not by much. But granted, I've only read the first 2, so that may change later on. It's still so worth the read. I always feel like manga just hits different than live action or anime, but that could just be due to my own personal preference. Last but certainly not least, I want to quickly note on some Korean BL dramas. They're newish to the BL drama game, but oh boy are they doing a good job right out the bat. Mr. Heart and Where Your Eyes Linger are both two kinda short but really well made and interesting BL K-dramas. I was a huge fan of K-dramas in general for quite a long time, so when BL dramas started dropping in 2020, I was on that shit. Mr. Heart is really cute and wholesome. I quite like the ending, and Where Your Eyes Linger can get a little dark, but I enjoyed that one a lot too. They're both on Viki and worth the watch. You could probably finish both of them in a day. So, the lesson we learned today is don't let your first impressions ruin a whole media for you. I avoided live-action BL dramas for years, was fully convinced they were just cringy and weird, but damn was I wrong. This is just a taste of the quality content BL live-action dramas offer. There are even more that are in their planning stages that I am ridiculously excited for, especially the live-action TGCF. My heart is not ready for live-action Hwa-Chung. Holy shit, I love that man. I hope you had a good time with me today. As always, check out my sponsor, the Otaku Market, for super snazzy BL deals. Until next time, I'm Peachy, and thank you for attending the Church of BL.